In the spirit of trying to show you a few more affordable boats, behind me here is a craft that fits the bill perfectly. This is the new Delphia 10 Sedan, and with prices starting from just £154,000, including VAT, you get an awful lot of boat for your money. And I'm going to show you everything there is to see and explain why it's such good value. My name is Hugo Andreae. You're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Let's go and take a closer look. Delphia are part of the Beneteau group, but unlike the parent company which builds its boats in France, these are built in Poland. Now they are predominantly for inland and coastal use. You can see it's a full displacement hull. We've got a shallow keel under there and a single shaft drive engine. Now the base model starts with a 45 horsepower Yanmar engine. This one I think has 110 horsepower diesel. You can also get full electric using Torqeedo electric drives, but that does add considerably to the price. In fact, it adds about £100,000. So let's go and take a closer look and see what we've got inside. Quick look at the stats then before we start. It's 32 foot 6 inches long. It's 11 foot 3 inches wide. As suspected, it's powered by a 110 horsepower single diesel engine, which should give a top speed of around about 9 knots. And this particular boat, as you can see it at the show, with all the spec on it and the engine, including VAT, is £269,000. So starting at the stern, we've got a relatively narrow bathing platform. It's probably about 2 foot long or so, but big enough to put bicycles or a small tender stowed upright. We've got a good wrap of seating and a very simple little reversible backrest. You can see that just pushes across, and then you've got an aft-facing bench. Now we've got the shore power plugged in on this one, and then access down both sides. It is a full walk-around boat, so you can see you've got a decent walk-around side deck on that side and one on this side. There are gates keeping it all secure. And then when you come into the cockpit, there's this U-shaped horseshoe of seating. There is storage under all of these. You have to pop up the cushions, but you can see there's a lift-up hatch there. There is a similar locker under there. If I just move that little display item, that is the gas locker. And then there is a big storage one under here. You just see, and that there is, you can plug in a manual tiller. If the steering fails completely, you can plug in a tiller and actually control the rudder using that. Now this is an expanding table. You can see that half folds over, and then you've got a full wrap of seating. It is on a single lift-out support, and there is a shorter one in there, so if you want to, you can put the table all the way down and then make this into a sunbed. We also have a big lifting locker here with access down below. It's almost big enough, really. It's a lazarette, but under there we've got plenty of space for storage, and in fact a couple of batteries for the stern thruster. So it's not going to drain the starting batteries. Now we'll do a quick tour of the decks. Under here we've got a big stowage locker, really handy for putting fenders and lines, or if you need to carry some extra fuel, anything like that. Lovely outside locker. Keep it nice and secure, but well away from the interior. We've got grab rails all along the roof here. Those nice wide side decks I mentioned earlier. You can see that is a big old hardtop up here, and that just provides shade at the aft end, and of course you can put covers around it and create a secure enclosed cockpit area. Twin sliding hatches, I'll show you those from inside, but they can either be manual or electric. I believe this one has the electric ones. These lovely wide walk-around decks. Big sun pad on the front bow section here. Really wide, beamy bow. It's completely squared off up here. Flares out a lot above the waterline. You can probably see, well, it's so flared I can barely see it down there. But you get the picture. It's much narrower at the waterline, so it's not a blunt shape that you're trying to push through the water, but it flares up above, so you've got a lovely square, beamy bow area here. Exactly the same coming down this side. The only difference is that we've got an access gate here in the side decks, and that just leads straight out into the helm position. So if you are going solo or just the two of you, It means the skipper can jump right out through this door onto the side deck and onto the pontoon to help secure the ropes. Makes a lot of sense, particularly on canals and rivers where you're constantly jumping on and off to deal with locks. Slide across doors. Don't need to demonstrate that, but you get the picture. It can all shut up nice and securely. Quite a tall dinette here, and that's creates lots of space down below. We've got a domestic fridge in there. It's an addition to the main galley one, but it gives you a nice raised seating position here with lots of storage under all the seats. I won't take all the cushions off, but there's storage under all of those. Good big glass area around the saloon. We've got manual opening windows on both sides. Very simple, but perfectly effective. Galley down this side. I'm not quite sure about this. I'm told it's a designer feature, these little holes drilled in here. To me, it looks like it's just missing a load of handles or something, but essentially they are all storage cabinets. I won't open them all. And then under this section here is the galley itself. There we go, just pops up. So we've got a gas hob, makes a lot of sense. It means you don't have to have a generator or be plugged into shore power. Got a sink under here, little oven under here, and a fridge in there. That is a rather neat little feature I like here. You see these here? These are just herb pots, but they're magnetic and they just lock into place like that. Really neat way to keep those on board without taking up valuable space elsewhere. Now moving forward, we've got the helm position. This makes me smile a little bit. It's a Carbo Nautica, very fancy looking carbon wheel, even though your boat is only going to be doing 9 knots. But to be honest, it feels like it should be on a 200-mile-an-hour supercar rather than a 9-knot inland waterways boat. But why not? It looks good, it feels good. Treat yourself. Fairly basic helm position. You obviously don't need a lot of nav gear if you're sticking to the waterways. There is space for a small MFD plotter style thing there if you want it. On this one, we've just got the Yanmar controls. Quick, I think that is probably for the anchor system, and then the key electrics all the way along there. Obviously just a single engine, but it makes it look like you've got twin. It's just a single engine, but you've got bow and stern thrusters. Makes things a lot easier. If you've just got a single shaft drive boat, a lot easier to have full control of the bow and the stern using those. We'll take a look in the engine in a minute, but that is under the floor here. And then if we spin around, we get down to the accommodation. Just take a little note, we've got these windows, so they're upright windows, not the deepest you've ever seen, but that's in order to create headroom down below. But you have got 360-degree windows pretty much all the way round and right back out there. So let's go and take a look down below. 2 steps down. And the main cabin is forward. And at the moment we've got it set up as a twin. You can see they are in fact scissor action style berths. So you can either have it set up like this as twin beds, or very simply just lift and move them into the center. Just as easy as that. And then you've got an island double berth in the middle. Now, not the thickest mattresses I've ever seen, but what do you expect? You know, we're trying to make a good value, sensible boat here, and I think they've done a pretty good job of it. You've got really deep windows all the way around, and up here too. I guess you're not thundering along at 30 knots through the rough seas, so you're not so worried about the absolute rigidity of the hull. I think this is going to be plenty strong enough for cruising on coastal waters and inland rivers and canals and so on. We've got lockers on both sides, and then we have a second cabin under here, and that's why there's that rather tall dinette, because that creates headroom underneath here, so you can get your feet down that end of the bed. Obviously you've got more space up here. If you prefer, you can have this kitted out as a study, effectively. It's just going to be 2 of you on board. You can have that as a nice study area if you want to work from boat rather than work from home. Hanging locker in there. And then right opposite on this side is the heads compartment, and it's actually a pretty decent shower room too. Got a separate shower in here. There is a 2-piece folding door that comes across. pull-out shower. There is full standing headroom in here. If I just spin that round, you can see above me here, plenty of standing headroom. Loo down on this side, sink, some more of those slightly strange perforated doors, and a frosted glass window, little opening port there, give you some fresh air. Now there is a bit of extra storage under here. Just always handy to have under the stairs there, otherwise it'd be wasted space. Right, let me show you the engine on this. This is a traditional shaft drive, so I need to lift up this panel here. I'll move that out the way. Just park that temporarily under the helm. Then lift this up here. And there is the engine. Very simple installation. 110 horsepower. Most of the time you're only going to be using 30 or 40 of that when you're cruising along relatively calm waters. I believe it has a fuel tank of around about 150 litres, and they reckon it uses probably 4 or 5 an hour. So you've got plenty of range just plodding along nice and slowly, very efficiently, rarely need to fill up. Very simple servicing with the shaft drive. Couldn't be easier. So nice low running costs, 2 decent cabins, lots of space inside and out, very easy to move around both along the side decks and through the saloon, and a nice fresh modern finish. So there you have it. That is the Delphia 10 Sedan, a nice uncomplicated boat doing what you need it to do without trying to be overly fancy. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around something a bit more affordable, a bit more river or coastal based rather than long sea passages, but for the kind of cruising you're going to be doing, very fit for purpose. Thank you for watching. I shall see you on the next one.